Here we go. We are 3 days away from the Bears season opener against the Tennessee Titans. My name is Harrison Graham, and you are watching Chicago Bears Now. Appreciate everybody for rocking and rolling with us. And oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We're starting with the boom, and Michael Horowitz doesn't even know what he just did. But this one's coming in from Mike Horowitz! Boom! Boom! Shout out to Michael Horowitz for getting the first 2 booms of the month. And Colin, I guess this is the perfect time to go ahead and announce our new monthly competition, the September Boom Club. We can go ahead and get Michael Horowitz's name on the top of that list. He's got 2 of them now. And guess what, Michael? And whoever else wants to compete. First of all, the top 5 Boom members will always be on screen here. Michael's got 2. Whoever gets the most booms in the month of September is going to win a signed Rome Odunze mini helmet. We've got it being shipped to us as we speak, and Michael is well on his way. So whoever booms the most this month is going to get a signed Rome Odunze helmet. So shout out to Michael. He's got 2. You'll get a couple more stickers on this bad boy. And by the way, our new helmet is going to be here for Sunday, so we'll start putting stickers on that one starting this Sunday. But Colin, Michael Horowitz just ready to rock and roll here on a Thursday afternoon.
What a legend. I mean, you said it perfectly. He didn't even know what he did, but he's always really willing to show out. And, yeah, he's the first one to get on the board for our September Boom Club, and we appreciate you, Michael. We always do.
Shout out to Michael Horowitz. Shout out your city, and we will get some shout-outs ourselves going here on Chicago Bears Now. Let us know where you guys are tuning in from. Xavier goes, I just bear down all over the place. I don't know what that means, Xavier, but I'm about it. Roel out in San Francisco. What's up, Roel? Brian in Taylor Ridge. We got Michael in Frankfort, Kentucky. Wasim in Irvine, California. Mike in Napoleon, Ohio. Skylar, Arlington Heights. We got Jeff in San Antonio. Yes, LaCora. Caleb Head in Burrowhead, Illinois. We got Large in New York. Richard in Kai there. Oceanside, California from Antonio. We got Cole from Centralia, Washington. Dallas. What's up, Ken? We got Selby in Lodi. We got Dion in Chicago. Gino in Wyoming. James in Watama, Wisconsin. Charleston, South Carolina is where Blaine is tuning in from. Brian in Hinesville. We got Caesar in Puerto Rico. Shout out to you, Caesar. Jean Thomas up in Canada. We got Chris in Connecticut. What's up, Chris? Thanks to everybody for tuning in. All right, predict the score of Bears versus Titans. Let's go. Who you got winning? Let's go. Get your score predictions in. Bears, Titans. Get those score predictions in. Who wins? What's the final score going to be? I got Bears 27-17. LaCora and Roel say 24-17. Ben says 27-21 Chicago. Wasim 27-10. That'd be fantastic. We got Skyler 40-10 Bears. Ellis 27-17. Trump 24-17. Daryl 34-30. I hope we don't give up 30 points to Will Levis, but as long as they win, I guess we'll take it. Michael Horowitz with the 50. He's getting another sticker for that. We'll go half price today with the little 50 there. 21-17. He has a Bears dub. So shout out to you. And by the way, speaking of the Hall of Fame helmet, we will be raffling this bad boy off on Sunday because we'll launch our new Helmet Hall of Fame for the in-season Hall of Fame club. So there you go. Shout out to Horowitz. Already has a couple of booms here in the month of September. Brian, 55-0. That'd be fantastic. 24-10 from Alias. Brian, 21-7. We got Caesar, 28-10. What else we got here? James, 24-13. Anthony, 24-20. Let's go. Michael Horowitz is the man. I mean, what can you say? What can you even say anymore? Game Time is also the man. We appreciate Game Time for sponsoring today's show. And if you're looking to go to Bears versus Titans on Sunday, still plenty of time to get your tickets. You can get the best prices available with Game Time. What I want you to do is to download the Game Time app today. Use promo code CHATSPORTS once you create your account. That's going to get you $20 off your first purchase only. Terms apply there, but you can check out the Cubbies, the White Sox, the Bears, plenty of other sporting events, concerts, comedy shows. Just use the code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase only. Terms do apply, but a lot of benefits to Game Time, including their new feature Game Time Picks, which filters out all the fluff to show you the best bang for your buck tickets that are available, so you don't have to scour through thousands of tickets on that specific event. We are also sponsored by Prize Picks here on today's episode of Chicago Bears Now Daily Fantasy Sports. No one does it better than Prize Picks. Download the app and create an account today. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS. That's going to get you a $50 bonus when you place your first $5 entry. Doesn't matter if you win or lose it. As long as you play for $5, you will get an additional $50. The way it works is simple. You set your lineups with 2 or more players up to 6 and choose more or less on the different stat projections. You can cross over sports. You can just go football only. As long as you've got players on at least 2 different teams within one entry, you are good to go. PrizePicks.com/CLNS, code CLNS, $50 bonus when you play for $5. Link is in the live chat for that as well. All right, we flashed this earlier, but our September Boom Club, the most booms, Cullen, in the month of September, wins a signed Rome Odunze helmet. That's a pretty sweet little opportunity there.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Rome Odunze. I think he's going to be a really big, impactful player for the Bears for years to come. And to get a signed helmet, I mean, it's basically making like an investment at this point.
Yeah.
So
if Rome Odunze hits, I mean, you could you could sell it down the road if you want. It's an awesome collector's item. Whatever you want to do with it, the winner, the most booms this month is going to get it. So shout out to Michael Horowitz. He's in the early lead, 2-0 on that one. All right, let's go to the next one here. How many touchdowns can be passing and rushing? Doesn't matter. Total touchdowns for Caleb Williams on Sunday. I made this the live poll as well. I put 0, 1, 2, or 3+. I like the 2 number. I think if the more or less Prize Pick style was set at 1.5, I'd take the more there. A couple of tuds for Caleb. I think they'll probably run one in with Swift or someone else as well. I got 27-17, so 3 touchdowns, 2 field goals. Caleb accounts for 2 of the 3 tuds, so I'll go 2 total. I don't know if it'll be 1 passing, 1 rushing, or 2 passing, but I think he finds the end zone twice.
I don't hate it because it's, everyone's got kind of their expectations of what Caleb Williams will be, but I think to kind of moderate him, especially for this week 1, his first game with real live action, with real defenses and everything, I think that's smart. I think if it was 2.5, might be a little rich for my blood, but I think you set the number right. 2.5 seems right.
Yeah, I said 1.5, and then I took 2. If it was 2.5, I'd probably take less. So Wasim says 2, Daniel 2, Brian 3, Richard 4. If he has 4, we're going to be partying. Daryl 2, Alias 2, Christian 6. Might go live for 6 hours if that happens. Jose says 2, 2 passes, 1 rushing from Caesar. So here we go, and here comes Michael Horowitz. Boom! He says 2 touchdowns, 250 yards plus. Who's going to join Michael Horowitz in on the fun? Michael Horowitz riding solo today. He's got 3 booms now. We'll be keeping tabs on this. The Boom Club will continue throughout the month of September. Could be you. Could be you. So there you have it. Let's get it popping, baby. Fire off the booms. Fire off the booms. Wasim says, I want to know is what car Michael drives. Michael Horowitz, that is completely up to you if you want to divulge that information. But, yeah, that's no doxing here from us. But, yeah, that's, Michael's living life. He's having fun. Big supporter of this show, so we certainly appreciate him very, very much.
Tesla and a Volvo.
Tesla and a Volvo. So you got little two-car setup. Okay.
Respect.
Little two-car setup. All right. If you love the Bears, hit that like button. Thumbs up icon. If you're ready for week 1 to be here, go ahead and like this video. And I know I'm ready for week 1. Cullen's ready for week 1. You guys should be ready for week 1. Hit the like button, and let's get this thing popping. All right, here's what we got coming up live. The latest Bears news, plus injury report for both Chicago and Tennessee. One new addition for the Bears, so keep an eye on that. Hashtag Bears or Super Chat. Get your questions on the show. We will do a mailbag episode today, so if you have any questions about this game or anything else, extravagant trade ideas, whatever, NFL prediction stuff, a lot of people throwing out their predictions, so fire away, hashtag Bears or Super Chat. I'm going to go through my Caleb Williams 2024 predictions, run through some stats, metrics that I think he will hit and some that I don't think he will hit, and then my final Bears 2024 record prediction as well. Game by game, win-loss record, my final prediction for the Chicago Bears. And shout out to Horowitz getting in here for another 10, saying all Bears fans have been bred and born for week 1. This is our time, Michael. This is our time, baby. So let's start out fast this year and take down the Tennessee Titans. All right, busy show coming up here on Chicago Bears Now. We'll start with the latest Bears news and injury updates. We got a jam-packed episode here on Chicago Bears Now. My name is Harrison Graham. Keenan Allen said, what? Montez Sweat ready to roll. He commented on this weekend's game today. We got the latest injury reports for both Chicago and Tennessee. And I thought I'd take a guess at who the inactives could be in week 1 because interesting little nugget from Richard Hightower today makes it interesting on who may or may not be active at certain spots. Remember, not all 53 players are active on game day. So all that and more coming up. And if you're ready for Bears-Titans on Sunday, hit that like button, like the video. I don't see how you couldn't be. Football is back, and so are we here on Chicago Bears Now. All right, Keenan Allen talking about Caleb Williams on Wednesday, saying this about his quarterback. He said, I wouldn't rather be with another guy than Caleb. The confidence is through the roof. Now, I'm not going to spend 10 minutes on this or anything crazy, but I just like this quote from Keenan because he's a vet. He's been in this league. He's played with 2, for sure, 1 Hall of Fame. Well, is Phillip Rivers going to the Hall of Fame? Maybe, maybe not. Very good player in Phillip Rivers, and also Justin Herbert, who could be a Hall of Famer one day. And he's sitting there saying, I would rather be with no one else than Caleb. Now, whether, deep down he truly believes that, would he rather play with Mahomes or something like that? Who knows? But the point is this. Give your young quarterback some confidence heading into his first start. They've both talked about each other publicly about, they knew each other out in L.A. when Keenan was playing for the Chargers, Caleb at USC, which, by the way, shout out USC for retiring Caleb's number 13 jersey. That's pretty cool for him. But hey, send a little public message like, yeah, this is my guy. I wouldn't rather be anywhere else. Like, let's give him a little confidence, and hey, maybe he'll throw me the football a little bit more. And that's kind of what I'm eager to see and excited to watch is, the ball distribution. Who's going to get more targets? How is Shane Waldron going to game plan? And is DJ Moore going to be the primary guy? Is it going to be spread out? Is Keenan going to emerge as the targets leader? How does Rome Odunze, Cole Kmet, DeAndre Swift figure into all of that? A lot of mouths to feed. And Keenan was kind of asked about that too. He said, hey, you've clearly been that top guy for a while now. What's your approach now that, you could be the number 1, but you're not a clear-cut number 1? He said, I kind of like it. I'm not having to be that clear top guy. Other guys are going to get opportunities, going to give me better looks. So I think he just wants to win. He wants to be here, and I'm excited to see what he can do when it comes to not only week 1, but this entire season. All right, Montez Sweat asked about week 1, and he's ready for Will Levis. He said, I'm excited to get my hands on the quarterback. We are hungry. We like to eat. We like to hunt. And that's what the defensive line is hoping to do. Obviously, we all feel good about Montez Sweat. It's the guys around him. Who's going to step up and be a productive player? By the way, how about Andrew Billings? The comments from Coleman Shelton calling him the most underrated player in the league. So you feel good about him as a run stopper. But is DeMarcus Walker, Javon Dexter, Austin Booker, can one of these guys step up and have an impactful day? I think the opportunity is there going up against this offensive line that we talked about on an episode earlier today. Yesterday? It was this morning. about the Titans' offensive line not being that good. The Bears have the edge. Even though their defensive line still needs some guys to prove they can play at a high level, I think there's more to point to just with Montez Sweat alone than anything Tennessee can point to. Lloyd Cushenberry is a nice center, but Sweat's a much better overall player, and there's question marks all over that offensive line. And Petit Frere in particular, whoever is lined up opposite of him should feel good about that matchup if it's one-on-one. If it's Montez Sweat, good luck. But I think a guy like Austin Booker can beat Petit Frere because he's a backup caliber tackle. And what was Booker doing in the preseason? He was bullying backup caliber tackles. So I think Sweat should feast on Sunday, especially if he's drawing that matchup. I think the Bears will move him around quite a bit. He mostly played left end last year, but they moved him to right end later in the year, so they'll mix and match there. But, yeah, I think it's advantage Chicago, and the pass rush needs to leave its mark. Speaking of which, put this video out earlier on Thursday. Bad news for the Titans. Why? Because Montez Sweat is a mismatch going up against this offensive line. I expand my thoughts on that in that show, so subscribe to the channel. Link's right there. Go to the content tab. Check out this video plus all of our other content leading up to week 1, including my preview from earlier in the week that kind of breaks down position by position and who has the edge, plus my final score prediction. All right, coming up next, we get into the Bears and Titans injury reports from Thursday. A new addition on the Bears injury report. We'll see if that's significant or not. But first, game time. Who wants to go to Soldier Field on Sunday? I really wanted to, but I got to be in the studio to be live for a watch party for you guys. So if you want to go, get going with the best ticketing app out there, and the sponsor of this show, that is Game Time. It is awesome. It's got a new feature called Game Time Picks, which makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play easier. It also will filter out the fluff to show you the best deals on the best seats, so you don't have to filter through thousands of tickets. Whether you're getting tickets for a sporting event, concert, comedy show, or anything else, Game Time has you covered with views from the seats, super deals, which are the best bang for your buck, and the last-minute tickets for lowest price guaranteed. So if you wake up Saturday, even early Sunday morning, feel like going, you might get a good deal within the Game Time app, so go check that out. Download the app today. Use code CHATSPORTS to get $20 off your first purchase only. Terms do apply there. That's $20 off with code CHATSPORTS. What time is it? It's game time. Link is in the comments and to the description to redirect you to the App Store and then start that process. To get that $20 off with code CHATSPORTS, terms do apply. All right, here's the Bears injury report today. It's gone from 6 to 8, but with context. Ryan Bates, he's been lifted from limited to full, so he should be good to go. I would expect him to be active on Sunday. Keenan Allen still listed as limited, but I think he's going to play. Roschon Johnson, he's limited with the toe. I do wonder if he's someone who could be inactive. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. Kiran Amegadjie still limited, working his way back from that quad injury. Zacch Pickens limited with a groin. Montez Sweat limited with a toe. He talked to the media today, though, so I feel good about him playing. DeMarcus Walker, new addition with the groin. Did something flare up yesterday? Did he get nicked up in today's practice? Those soft tissue injuries, keep an eye on that one. The Friday injury report will probably be big there. And then the 8th guy was a new addition, but it's just going to be Mercedes Lewis weekly rest day. He is 40 years old, so I think Thursday is going to be the day he does not practice. For the Titans, same as yesterday, DeAndre Hopkins limited with a knee. Otis Reese limited as he's been coming back from a concussion. And then Jamal Adams did not practice with a hip injury, so we'll see if he's able to play on Sunday, but I would say that's trending in the opposite direction. All right, Richard Hightower named the returners today to kind of clear up any confusion, because on the Bears' unofficial depth chart, it listed Velus Jones or DeAndre Carter as the starting kickoff returner. Well, it's Velus. And then for the punt returner, it listed DeAndre Carter or Velus Jones, but it's going to be DeAndre Carter. And we kind of knew that, especially since Velus hasn't returned to punt throughout the entire preseason. But he confirmed that those are going to be the two returners, which means they're going to both be active, at least to start the season. So it just got my brain twirling a little bit. Like, I'm curious about who's going to be inactive. So 48 players can be active on Sunday, which means 5 guys have to be down. Now, is Zacch Pickens one who's down? Like, if he's not fully ready to go, that could potentially take care of one. I've got 10 players that I think could be in the mix to be inactive. I think Roschon Johnson could be inactive. I mean, if DeAndre Swift and Khalil Herbert are active, I think Travis Homer made this team for special teams, so I think he's going to be active. If Velus Jones is active as your returner, do you need a fifth running back to be active? Probably not. So I think Roschon, especially since he's limited right now, could be out. Could they hold Tyler Scott out, go a little thinner at receiver? Velus could be that, emergency number 5 if needed. Certainly a possibility. I do feel good about Kiran Amegadjie being inactive. I think they're going to slowly work his way back. Bill Murray could be another one as well, especially with Ryan Bates being full. I do have Bates mentioned here, but if he's fully ready to go, I would expect him to be your top interior backup for this game, which could mean Doug Kramer's inactive because you needed Kramer on the initial 53 because Bates was banged up and he's your second center. But if Bates is ready to rock, you don't really need Kramer active, so I think he's almost a lock to be inactive. I mentioned Zacch Pickens. Daniel Hardy or Dominique Robinson, you got 6 defensive ends. Probably don't need to dress 6. I would guess one of those guys is inactive. And then Noah Sewell, who I argued shouldn't even make this team. He could be certainly a candidate to be inactive as well. So there you go. We'll see who it is. 5 players out of the 53 not going to dress on Sunday. Predict the score, Bears versus Titans at Soldier Field. Who you got winning? What is the score going to be? Let me know in the comments. Again, I've got Bears winning 27-17. All right, there you have it, the latest news and updates from Halas Hall here on Thursday. My name is Harrison Graham. We will continue to pump out content between now and Sunday, and of course we'll be live on Sunday at 10:45 a.m. Central Time for our first regular season watch party of the year. Michael Horowitz, once again, the guy's just putting on a show. Run the ball frequently and often, number 1 key in the game. Yeah, I think they're going to want to try to get Swift and whatever other runners going early on in this game. Herbert, maybe Velus gets an opportunity or two. I think if you can establish a consistent running game, that's going to, A, let Caleb settle in easier, take pressure off him, and B, when you want to cut it loose a little bit with him, that's going to, stack the box a little more and give you some more man coverage, softer looks. So you can certainly make some plays throwing the football. Herquavius says, A, if it doesn't work out this year with Flus, would you rather hire Belichick, Vrabel, or possibly Tomlin if he and the Steelers agree to part ways? Well, I would go Vrabel or Tomlin over Belichick if those are the 3 options. I'd have to think. I'd probably lean Tomlin. The only issue is he's had trouble hiring good offensive coordinators. Now, they brought in Arthur Smith this year, which I think is a pretty decent hire, but we'll see how that plays out. But Vrabel's going to be a strong candidate in the next cycle. Belichick will be in the mix, but are the Bears going to hire a guy in his mid-70s next year who's a defensive guy as well? Like, to me, if it's not Vrabel or a Tomlin, I want to go offense. Like a Ben Johnson, come on down. Bobby Slowick, come on down. I want a guy who can be my head coach, call my plays. That way they can grow together with Caleb Williams, and there's no risk of them leaving and taking another job. Because that's the thing. If this team balls out, which we all hope they do, that's awesome. But Shane Waldron's going to become a head coach candidate pretty quickly if that happens. That's how this works. Every team wants the young offensive mind that they can hire, groom with the young quarterback they already have, or draft a quarterback to pair with them. That's what teams are trying to do. So that's the disadvantage of having a defensive head coach. Illuminati, I commented this one of the shorts earlier. Do you think the Bears could bring in Matt Ryan as a consultant to serve as the veteran quarterback in the room? Thoughts? They could, but he's not going to do that, and here's why. Because he's under contract with CBS, and they probably pay him more than a consultant role for an NFL team. I would guess Matt Ryan's making, what do you think he makes to do games during the season, Colin? $250,000? And it's a chill gig. You work 20 hours a week. I mean, you have your game day prep and then probably 10 to 15 hours of prep throughout the week, travel plus the game, that's it. I mean, it's a pretty cushy gig to be a NFL TV analyst.
Yeah, I mean, he's at a major network. I mean, he's a very notable name.
He played college with Poles. He visited during training camp, so there's a relationship there. But I could see Ryan getting back into football in a front office or as a coach at some point. I think he's pretty comfortable right now. I think he's chilling. So, and he can't be the NFL would not allow him to be a consultant for a team while also still working for CBS. Did you see that article that Tom Brady could run into some issues with this Raiders ownership thing while being Fox's #1 analyst? That's a conflict of interest issue. So, yeah, I don't think that's in the cards right now. Jose Solis, 100,000 subs before Sunday. Also, bold prediction, Caleb, 400 passing yards Sunday. I don't think before Sunday for the 100K, Jose, we're like just under 2,000 away. But I think Sunday's possible. There's been chatter in the office that maybe we could get there. So if we get a big audience, make a strong push during the game on Sunday, I think 100K is possible. And if we do, we'll have a nice little surprise if that happens. So let's make it happen, Jose. Spread the word. Tell everybody to tune in this week. All right, mailbag time. Need your questions. Hashtag Bears or Super Chat. Load them up. Load them up. Check it out. Check it out. Load it up. Load it up. If you got questions about the game, like Christian and Jaden firing away in there, trade ideas, whatever you guys are feeling, launch away.
Yeah, I got Jaden's. I got Christian's. Get those questions in, man.
Fire away.
Get those questions in. And by the way, if you do super chat a question like our guys over here, Illuminati and Horquavius, chances are you're going to get on the show.
Yeah.
In fact, I know you're going to get on the show because I'm the one putting them on the show. So they're getting on.
Colin's in control. Colin's in control.
I don't make the rules, except I do. It's one segment.
It is bold, Jose. It's called a bold prediction. Oh, man. God, got a game tonight? We're back.
We are so back.
We're all the way back.
All the way back. No question about it. Just, we're here.
Got some good college games this week. Got the Brazil game. I keep forgetting there's a game tomorrow.
Yep. Friday game. I'm going to be really interested in that. And I think there might be some Bears fans that are going to be tuning in just to kind of scout the competition, so to speak. But
Packers. Yeah. I hate to say it. You know, if you're a gambler, good for you. But 1-800-GAMBLER if there's an issue. I like the Packers getting points. The way they finished last year, +2, the way Philly finished, I know it's new coaches, but, like, to me that's kind of a pick-em. So if you're getting points, I kind of like the value there for Green Bay. I hope Philly wins, FGB, but yeah, I think that's pretty good value. Like
the hope for, I guess, Bears fans, and forever always FGB, would be that, you know, oh my God, I'm blanking on Philly's new OC.
Kellen Moore.
Yeah, if he comes in and the offense just looks night and day compared to what it did last year, a lot of pre-snap motion, you know, just firing on all cylinders, and maybe the Packers just can't keep up, that would be the hope.
Yeah, I mean, I think on paper, Philly's roster is a little better for sure. They've got more key vets. So, I don't know. I also think even though they're more talented, there's more questions there, if that makes sense. So, we'll see how it plays out. All right, we got a lot in there, I think, at least enough to get started. Hashtag Bears or Super Chat. Get those questions loaded up, and Cullen will get them on the screen. Coming up after this mailbag, we got a little Caleb Williams season predictions and my final Bears record prediction for the season. So lots to dive into. You do not want to miss it here on Chicago Bears Now. I'm Harrison Graham. It's time for a Bears Now mailbag. Bear Down Forever says, who is the X factor in Sunday's game against the Titans? It's a good question. One player that comes to mind for me is Kevin Byard for a couple of reasons. One, he had a good training camp, multiple interceptions in camp. He's a guy that has a lot of picks in his career. I think he's a clear upgrade from Eddie Jackson. But two, yes, it's a new regime in Tennessee, but he knows that team pretty well. He's played there for the majority of his career. Got traded midseason last year to Philadelphia, but he knows the personnel there. Again, new schemes and all that stuff, so I'm not saying he's going to have all the answers, but he knows a tendency of a DeAndre Hopkins. He knows what young Will Levis looks like. So I think he could spread his wisdom and knowledge in this game. And, a little bold prediction here. How about a Kevin Byard interception to kick off his Bears debut? That would certainly be a lot of fun. Who do you guys think? Bears X Factor this week. If you had to pick just one. If I added one on offense, I'd say DeAndre Swift. But on defense, I'm going Kevin Byard. Drop a name in the comment section down below. Your Bears X Factor against the Tennessee Titans. Arquavius, $5 super chat. Hey, if it doesn't work out this year with Flus, would you rather hire Bill Belichick, Mike Vrabel, or possibly Tomlin if he and the Steelers agree to part ways? If I had to rank that, I'd go Tomlin 1, Vrabel 2, Belichick 3. 1 and 2 would be close. You could certainly talk me into Vrabel. Really what it would come down to is who can hire the better OC. I mean, that would be what that came down to. If it doesn't work out with Flus, preferably I'd go offense. Like I'd go get Ben Johnson, pair him with Caleb Williams, and hopefully they're together for the next 10 or 15 years. I think most of the good teams now, offensive head coach who calls the plays with the quarterback who gets it done. Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, Matt Stafford, Sean McVay, Brock Purdy, Kyle Shanahan. Like that's the formula, I think. Now, doesn't mean you can't win with defense. I'm rooting for Flus to be that guy. But in your hypothetical, if he does have to go, these three guys would be good options, but I would go back to the offensive side of things and pair someone with Caleb Williams. Illuminati, what do you think will be the next significant move made by Ryan Poles? It's a good question. Feels like something at the trade deadline. I think he'll have a patient approach early on here. But if the Bears are contending, say they're 5-3, something like that when the deadline's here, they need another pass rusher. If they need another weapon on offense, if you lose one of your safeties or something like that, you need a guy to shore up the back end. I think he'll certainly look for opportunities to add there. But I think after missing out on Matt Judon, his big swings right now are done. I think he'll, Halloween, he'll start monitoring that situation again. All right, hashtag Bears Super Chat. We'll get to more questions here, but first, do want to shout out our sponsor for today's show. That is Prize Picks, daily fantasy made easy with Prize Picks. We appreciate them for sponsoring today's show. Football is back, and so is Prize Picks here on Bears Now. The way it works is simple. You select 2 to 6 players in your Prize Picks lineup, pick more or less on their projected stats, and place your entry. It takes less than a minute. That's after taking just 90 seconds to create your account at prizepicks.com/CLNS. Code CLNS, going to get you a $50 bonus when you play for just $5. So go check that out. Doesn't matter if you win or lose, you're going to get that $50 bonus. I've had this one launched a few weeks back. Little tip, though, now. Caleb Williams, more or less than half a passing yard, so that is available at your disposal. I've launched a couple with that as well. Did love getting Tyreek Hill at more than 90.5 receiving yards. That number has gone up, but throughout the month of September, you can get Caleb Williams for half a passing yard, so take advantage of that every week. You're halfway home to a win. If you do a 2-player entry, you can go up to 6 players. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Choose more, choose less. Code CLNS, $50 bonus when you play for just $5. Link is in the comments and in the description. Get started today. It is Prize Picks. All right, let's go to Illuminati again here. I commented this one on Shorts earlier. Do you think the Bears could bring in Matt Ryan as a consultant to serve as the veteran quarterback in the room? Thoughts? We answered this before the mailbag segment, but I'll say it again here. He's got a full-time gig with CBS, who probably pays him pretty well to be one of their lead NFL analysts, probably $250,000, maybe $500,000. So I think Matt Ryan's chilling right now. But played college with Ryan Poles. They're close. He spent a day or two at training camp hanging out with Poles, so wouldn't rule that out down the road. But I think right now he's chilling, playing golf, and calling some football games. Jaden Grimm, if Bayless looks good early on, do you think Herbert is traded before the deadline? I am curious about this because if Bayless finds himself a role earlier this season, maybe not a big role, but say he's getting 5-6 touches a game out of the backfield, and Herbert's getting 5-6, and Swift is the lead dog, whatever. Well, A, does Roschon have a role on this team, who I know they like? B, if Bayless's touches are impactful, do they want to increase those? And if they do, well, at that point, you definitely don't need both Khalil and Roschon. And since Khalil's on an expiring deal, do you try to flip him? Do you try to trade him to a team at the deadline that could use a running back? Because it's a pretty crowded room right now. And if you watch the Hard Knocks finale, they like what Bayless is doing and how he's progressing at the running back position. It's almost like they should have done it a year and a half ago, like I suggested. But, I think if Bayless shows some juice early on in the season, a guy like Khalil Herbert could become expendable. Jose Solis, appreciate the $5. 100,000 subs before Sunday, ? Also, bold prediction, Caleb Williams, 400 passing yards against the Titans. That is bold. I would not predict that. I think over 300 is very much on the table, though. 100,000 before Sunday seems unlikely. We just crossed 98,000. Round of applause, by the way. Subscribe now for free and daily content and join our watch party on Sunday starting at 10:45 a.m. Central Time. I'll say this, Jose. I could see us hitting 100,000 during the game potentially. And if we do, little surprise for you guys. So hit that sub button. Join us on Sunday. Let's get it popping. All right, Captain Bears man hype man saying this. Jalen Johnson interception. What do you think happens first? That, Montez sweat sack, DJ Moore touchdown. I think if you're playing the odds, you'd have to say Montez sweat sack, right? Because he had 12.5 sacks last year. DJ Moore had 8 touchdowns. Jalen Johnson had 4 interceptions. So if you're just playing the volume stats over the course of a season, you'd go Sweat most likely, Moore second likely, Johnson third likely. But certainly any of those could happen at any time. Like none of those are far-fetched predictions. So I'll stick with sweat sack because Tennessee's offensive line has a lot of question marks. But the other two are very much on the table to happen in week 1. Jimothy Jim Jum, did the Bears go from the most dysfunctional team in the league last year to a leading organization, or did Hard Knocks oversell the franchise? I think things settled down the second half of last year. I mean, it was tumultuous early. Chase Claypool was a mess. Alan Williams got fired and HR had to get involved. Another coach, David Walker, got fired reportedly due to an HR violation. Like it was a mess. But seemed like things settled down. Second half of the year, the team finished strong, and it's been a pretty drama-free offseason. No real issues. And sure, Hard Knocks is a TV show. They're going to try and lean into storylines. But I do buy into the narrative that this team is tight-knit, that they believe in one another, and that they feel good about where they're heading. Ryan Poles said, it's time to win. Like, I don't think he's saying that for the cameras. I think he's serious. It's year 3 now. So, yeah, are they leaning into that at HBO? I'm sure they are. But that doesn't mean it's not true. I think they are pretty well run right now, which is kind of crazy to think about after how things were looking early last season. I mean, this team at one point lost 14 in a row. Final 10 games of the first year with Flus. First 4 games last year. I mean, not many regimes survived that. And not only have they survived it, they're starting to thrive, I think. All right, Caleb Williams, how many touchdowns on Sunday total? Doesn't have to be passing, rushing, receiving, whatever. Total touchdowns. I'll go 2. Not sure if it's going to be 2 passing or 1 and 1, but I'll go 2. You let me know how many total touchdowns for C-Dub. DC Viper, if Caleb overperforms this season, will the Mahomes comps be deserved? I mean, how does it look, right? Is he playing like Mahomes? Is he winning like Mahomes? Remember, a couple things. One, Mahomes only played 1 game as a rookie, so it's not apples to apples. But since he has taken over as a starter, the floor with Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City has been losing in overtime in the AFC Championship game. So, is Caleb going to get the Bears to the NFC Championship game and put up ridiculous numbers? If he does, people are going to compare him to Mahomes. If he's good but not great and the Bears are pretty good, I don't think you're going to hear as much, but that's been a kind of an overused comparison. I'm sure you'll see more of it, but I just want him to play well. I just want him to win. I don't really care how it looks. And that's what he said. I don't care about my stats. I just want to win the game. That's what's most important at the end of the day. All right, appreciate all the questions. Got as many of you guys in as we could. If we missed you, at HGramNFL on Instagram, same handle on Twitter, X as well. It's at HGramNFL. Slide into the DMs. They are wide open. All right, Chet says, Will Levis, 4 touchdowns, 350, book it. If he does, that's trouble for Chicago. Probably means Tennessee wins. I mean, that's at least 28 points. Look, the thing about Will Levis, if you watched him last year, sometimes he looks like a guy who can do this. Other times he looks like a guy who could throw 3 picks and is just missing throws left and right. He was very erratic as a rookie, but they added Calvin Ridley. They're hoping their offensive line is better. They're hoping Brian Callahan can jumpstart this offense. So we'll see. I wouldn't predict that against this Bears defense, especially the secondary, but who knows? Gotta wait and see how it plays out. David Knesevich, worst to first year Bear Down FGB. I think if you ranked the worst to first candidates, the Bears would be at or near the top of the list. I mean, I guess the most obvious one would be Cincinnati, because didn't they go 9-8 last year and they still got last in the AFC North? Like, they're probably the favorite to go from worst to first. But The Bears could certainly do it. It's not impossible. It's just division's going to be tough. Illuminati with the 10. What unexpected player do you think will surprise us this season? Could it be Velus? Could it be? Could it be a guy like who's unexpected? I don't know. I feel like we haven't talked about Gerald Everett in a while. Could he outperform Cole Kmet statistically? One of my bold predictions was Austin Booker, 8 sacks. I mean, I think we all think he'll contribute, but that eight or more, I don't think should be expected. I don't know. Tyler Scott, he has a big year. I don't know how many opportunities he's going to get, but if you guys have one, drop a name in the comments. All right, some shout-outs on this. How many touchdowns for Caleb? 2 segments down, 2 to go. We're going to get into a little Caleb Williams talk coming up next, and then we'll go through my game-by-game record prediction before we get out of here. Ron says 4. Kendall says 2. Whipper says, Kmet top 5 tight end at the end of the year? Maybe. I think he's underrated. 2 passing, 1 rushing from Christian, 1 from Isaiah. What about Roschon Johnson? He was limited at practice today. Bold prediction, he's inactive week 1. If I had to guess my 5 inactives, Kiran Amegadjie, Doug Kramer, Roschon Johnson. Do we have that list 10 logo still of inactive candidates? I think those 3 I feel good about. Amegadjie, Kramer, and Roschon, because Bates full participant today, so I think Kramer's inactive. Amegadjie's inactive. I'll go Zacch Pickens 4, and then 1 of Hardy or Robinson. I would guess Hardy, because Robinson's bigger. He can probably give you more juice on special teams. But I think those will be your 5. Roschon, Amegadjie, Kramer, Pickens, Hardy. That's my guess at your 5 inactives. So,
I'll throw a quick question at you, just because I'm curious. Which of those inactives, like realistic inactives, like obviously they're not going to make Caleb or anybody inactive.
Yeah.
Realistic inactive that you'd be kind of annoyed with or even almost like unhappy with?
That was inactive?
Yeah, like they made inactive and you're kind of just like.
If it's not a health reason, yeah.
Just curious.
I'd be annoyed. I didn't mention him as the 5 there, but if like Tyler Scott was inactive, and the reason I'd be annoyed, it's like we're still in this thing where you have to have a different kick and punt returner to take up 2 game day active spots with Velus and Carter. Like, to me, that should not, because Tyler Scott's a better receiver than both Velus and Carter. Velus is basically just a running back now, let's just be honest. So that one would annoy me. If Tyler Scott's inactive because DeAndre Carter has to be on the team to return punts, that would frustrate me. But looking at it more, I don't think he will be. I think you'll see at least 2 offensive linemen because you have 10. Dress 8 on game day, be just fine. And then, I think one of those defensive ends because you're heavy there. By the way, DeMarcus Walker popping up on the injury report today. We'll see. I mean, groin injury, that could certainly I think Friday's injury report on him is pretty significant. So hopefully he's all right.
We did get a super chat come in. Traquan, unfortunately, our software decided to.
I'll read it for you, Traquan. He says, Levis is just Cutler, but with less experience, and he puts mayo in his coffee. He does, which is disgusting. I'll take Caleb over that any day. Yeah, I mean, there's not a GM in this league that would take Will Levis over Caleb Williams. Now, that doesn't mean Will Levis doesn't have a chance of being good. He's just an unknown. And sure, Caleb's an unknown. You're an unknown until you play. But if the Titans got a call from Ryan Poles today and said, we'll trade you Caleb for Will Levis straight up, they'd laugh and say, sweet. Like it would not – there's not a team in the league that would take Will Levis over Caleb Williams. There's just not. So, all right, speaking of Caleb Williams, we are going to kind of just do some stat predictions, other thoughts on him for the 2024 season, kind of expectation talk that I have for him as we kick things off this Sunday. So let's get into it here on Chicago Bears Now. If you had to guess right now, and that's what I'm asking you to do here on Chicago Bears Now, my name is Harrison Graham, predict what will Caleb Williams' rookie year stats be? You could do yards, touchdown to interception, completion percentage, all of it, rushing yards too. Go above and beyond. Hop in the comments. Give me your Caleb Williams stat predictions because guess what? That's what we're doing on today's show. All right, I'm going to go through Caleb Williams' rookie stats and overall predictions as we get into today's episode and to Caleb's true debut. Of course, he played in a couple preseason games, but this is the real deal now, and it starts on Sunday against the Tennessee Titans. Something to remember, no Bears quarterback ever has thrown for 4,000 yards or more in a season or 30 touchdown passes in a single season. Two marks that we hope Caleb surpasses at some point. Whether those hit this year, we'll see. But we'll kind of go one by one here on what I think he will and will not do. And then at the end of the show, I'll have a full stat projection for Caleb Williams. All right. I do think he'll top 4,000 passing yards, assuming he stays healthy and plays all 17. That's the caveat. If he plays all 17 games, I expect him to hit that number. And why do I expect that? Well, 4,000 yards over 17 games, that's 235.3 yards per game. That's not outrageous. I know for the Bears it is because they just have never had competent quarterback play from a passing standpoint at least. But this should not be some earth-shattering number to reach. In fact, and it'll be outlined in a minute, it is much easier to reach 4,000 passing yards than it is to reach 30 touchdown passes. Like half the league every year hits 4,000 yards, or at least a third. With the weapons around him, the offensive line should be better. Caleb's just ability. If he's healthy, he'll do it. That's my prediction. Now, if he throws for 3,800 yards, that doesn't mean it's a disappointing year. I just think he will hit 4,000 yards. Obviously, weather plays a role. Playing in a place like Chicago, NFC North, I get all that, but I still think he hits 4,000 passing yards. I don't think he'll throw for 30 touchdowns this year. Not that he'll never do it, but it really doesn't happen as often as you would think. I think people remember like the Peyton Manning 55 touchdown pass season, and they're like, oh, come on, 30? That's like barely even half of that. Well, if you've noticed in recent years, even though it's more of a passing league, guys aren't throwing for 45 touchdowns a season. They're just not. And especially for rookies, only one rookie ever has surpassed 30 touchdown passes. Herbert threw for 31 in 2020. As great as C.J. Stroud was last year, he only threw for 23 touchdowns. I think he missed 2 games, but still, it's not like he was a threat to hit 30. You look at last year in the entire league, only 4 players threw for 30 touchdowns. Dak led the league with 36, Jordan Love 32, Brock Purdy 31, Jared Goff 30. Like, I think people have this idea of, yes, it's a passing league and, this and that. It's not easy to throw for 30 touchdowns. 1, quarterbacks get hurt. 2, it's not, you almost have to throw for 2 a week. And that sounds easy, but it's really not. The history of the league will tell you it's not. So I'll go 26. And I think that's pretty optimistic. That probably would be top 10 in the NFL, top 12, depending on how this year goes. Scoring could be back up this year. It was a little bit of a dip last year. But 26 touchdown passes for Caleb, that would be a pretty good number, like especially if the interceptions are 13 or less. That would be at a 2-to-1 ratio. So I think he'll get 26. Could he threaten to throw for 30? Of course, he's capable of it. But predicting it, is 1 in 8 chance based on last year. I don't think that's that likely. Okay, I'll set the more or less at 25.5 touchdown passes. Type M if you think it'll be more. I said M, 26. Type L if you think it'll be less. More or less, 25.5 touchdown passes for Caleb Williams this year. Well, speaking of more or less in stat projections, that is what Prize Picks does. Daily fantasy sports, and the way you play is simple. You set your lineups with 2 to 6 players, and you choose more or less on the different stat projections for games. Season-long stat projections as well are available. Get started right now at prizepicks.com/CLNS. That code CLNS is going to get you a $50 bonus once you place that initial $5 entry. So play for 5, get 50 bonus. Doesn't matter if you hit or not. Even if you miss your entry, you're still going to get that bonus directly into your account, which is awesome. A play I like in week 1, depending on when you're watching this, hopefully Pacheco found the end zone on Thursday night. Caleb Williams throughout the month of September, half a passing yard, so they're giving you a gimme. Already halfway home if you just do a 2-player entry, like Pacheco there with the demon pick. Hopefully he scored. get started today. $5 entry, going to get you that bonus 50. And typical 2-player entries, you get 3 extra money. So $10 to win 30. This one you get a little boost because the Pacheco one's a demon pick, which basically means they're telling you it's a little harder to hit. But I love that value. If you're watching live on Thursday, Pacheco is basically the only Chiefs true healthy running back. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is on NFI. Samaje Perine just got there. And Carson Steele's a rookie UDFA running back, fullback hybrid. So love Pacheco to find the end zone. Get started. PrizePicks.com/CLNS, code CLNS. To get going tonight. Okay, let's keep it rolling with the predictions. I think he'll rush for at least 300 yards and 6 rushing touchdowns. Kind of a big number, but I think he's going to, I think Waldron will run him some, like by design in the red zone to use that extra blocker. Obviously, he's not a Justin Fields runner, but he's underrated as a runner. He's pretty fast, and he's built, so he can take hits if needed. And as we saw in the preseason, he'll probably just have 2 or 3 scramble drill ones alone where he's just keeping plays alive and runs in. Say he has 3 of those, we only have to find 3 more. QB sneak, designed boots from Waldron, designed QB power. Like, over the course of 17 games, I think 6 rushing touchdowns is very much on the table. He's an opportunistic runner. That's the word I would use. Like, he's not looking to run, but he's very capable of it. Had the nice scramble in the Bills game as well to extend a drive on a 3rd down. So he'll run enough. 300 yards plus over a 17-game season, not that many. I think he hits that number. And the 6 touchdowns, a little more bold, but I like him to get there. This is a bold one. He will outplay Jordan Love at Lambeau Field in Week 18. And the Bears will win that game. I'm going to get to my record prediction here in a minute, but he will outplay Jordan Love at Lambeau Field. I expect Caleb Williams to rise up in a lot of these big games. Doesn't mean he's going to win them all, but I think that's going to be a personal game to him. His QB crush growing up, sucks to say, but you watch him play and you're like, I see the resemblance, was Aaron Rodgers. You don't think he's going to be motivated to go into that Lambeau Field where Aaron Rodgers played for 20 years almost and beat the crap out of Jordan Love? I do. I think he's a competitor like that. So I expect Caleb to deliver the goods in these big matchups, and I'm calling it now. He will outplay Jordan Love at Lambeau Field in Week 18. You can book it, save this video, and when he gets outplayed, you can scrap me on Twitter, whatever you want to do. All right, one more here, then we'll get to the end of this video. Bears watch parties all season long. Speaking of Bears-Packers, we'll be live for both of those games, every game, including Bears-Titans this weekend. So subscribe, turn on notifications. We'll go live at least an hour before every single game, if not an hour and 15 minutes, to get you ready for kickoff. So lock us in all season long. Okay, another bold one. He will lead the Bears to a playoff win. I'm not going to go full Nick Wright, pick them to make the Super Bowl. I don't think they're quite ready for that. I think there's still a couple holes to fill, experience to gain, especially for Caleb, but I think they make the playoffs, and I think they win a playoff game. That's what I think happens here. I just think the NFC, I think there's a lot of depth in the conference. There's not a lot of dominant teams. So if you get the right matchup, like Philly or Dallas out of the NFC East, I feel like that's winnable if you're a wild card team. Whoever wins the NFC South, if you draw them in the first round, I think that's winnable. San Francisco would be tough. Detroit would be tough, although you would have faced them twice, so you'd be familiar there. Depending on a couple other teams that could win divisions. But I think the Bears are, if they get in, a guy like Caleb is capable of going nuclear in a one-game situation, and the Bears defense is going to travel. Like, it's going to play well. So I really do think they have a good shot to make the playoffs, and if they do, ultimately win a playoff game. All right, here are my stat projections to add them all up. I'm going to go just under 65% completion there, 4,100 passing yards, 4,109 to be exact, 26 touchdowns against 11 interceptions there. 349 rush yards and 6 rushing touchdowns. I'll add 5 fumbles there. How about that? So 32 touchdowns to 16 turnovers, so 2-to-1 ratio there. If he had this season, literally be the best Bears quarterback in franchise history for a single season. And I think this, more than anything else, the highs will be extraordinarily high. Like the highlight reel plays in the big moments that we will see from Caleb this year will be as high as we can ever remember. Justin Fields certainly had those highs. The problem for him is his lows were very low. That's what you got to avoid. You got to avoid the multi-disaster games, right? Like, you're going to make mistakes. He's acknowledged that, but the big moments are going to be fun to watch for Caleb Williams. The highs are going to be very high, like I mentioned, and I can't wait to get it started, man. So there you have it, my Caleb stat predictions and overall projections for 2024 as he kicks off his career on Sunday afternoon. If you're excited to watch Caleb play, type me in the comments. Let's go. How could you not be? Get the me's in the comments right now, and let's go, baby. I'm just getting chills thinking about Sunday. The boys running out of the tunnel and getting ready to go at Soldier Field. All right, if you want to hit me up on Twitter, you can find me at HGramNFL. I'll be tweeting throughout the game. I'm always tweeting throughout the week around the Bears, the NFL, college football, everything else. So rock with me at HGramNFL. All right. Shout out to James, Louis B, Jeff, Wasim, Devin, Lefty, Sean, Ron Winarski. We got Christian, the fourth, John, Naj, Justin, Sammy, KO, Sports Talk, Mike, Link. Appreciate you guys rocking with us today. D. Burns. Fred says, I'm hoping it's not a penalty and mistake-laden football game. These first games are sometimes a mess. Yeah, I mean, I think one thing that stood out to me, Cullen, not just that the Bears won these games, I felt like they played pretty smart. Like, not a lot of egregious penalties from what I remember. I remember early on last year they had kind of a personal foul issue. Like, Tyreek Stevenson had a couple. Like, you got to avoid those back-breaking penalties. Like, sure, you're going to hold every once in a while, jump off sides, whatever. But, you know, if you play clean football, I think this team's going to be in a lot of football games.
Yeah. No, and that's true for a lot of teams, right? You play a clean game, you're expected to win and everything. And look, Caleb is a rookie, so you're going to have those moments like you were mentioning where you're going to have some spots where it's growing pains. And, you know, could it happen in week one? Sure. But ultimately, your kind of mindset for Caleb is obviously you want to give him confidence, but also just, hey, play your game, but also kind of, you know, not too much playing the structure of the offense because you don't want to take away that big play creativity that he's obviously was drafted there for. But, no, I think Caleb is going to come out with a very mature mindset. Nothing throughout this since he got drafted by Chicago, has given you any ounce of like, hey, I'm not sure if he's quite ready for the moment.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
So
he's got the right mindset, and that's half the battle.
And when your head's screwed on right, I mean, usually that translates onto the field. So.
Someone in the chat makes a good point. Tevin Jenkins being healthy is huge. Yeah, he hasn't been healthy to start a season really ever. I think he played week one a couple years ago, but he was still nursing something. So, yeah, I mean, that's big on the interior because center and right guard, especially against Jeffrey Simmons, that's a matchup to watch. You know, if I'm Tennessee, I'm lining up Jeffrey Simmons on Nate Davis and Coleman Shelton and trying to win that battle. So, yeah, Tevin being out there is definitely going to be important. All right, last segment coming up here, my Bears 2024 record prediction. We did this when the schedule came out, but now that the rest of the offseason has played out, training camp, we know a lot more now. So going to go game by game and ultimately come up with a final record. So let's get to it here on Chicago Bears Now. All right, we're here, baby. The 2024 season is about to kick off. And on today's show, my final 2024 Chicago Bears record prediction. I did this back in May when the schedule came out, just off the rip. But now that the offseason has played out, we've seen the preseason, learned more about other teams, certain injuries around the league. Going to go game by game and give my predictions. First, quick reminder of the schedule. You got 3 AFC South games early on here to start the schedule. Titans, Texans, and Colts. And then Jags in Week 6 in London. So 4 of your first 6, you knock out the AFC South. Got the Rams and Panthers in there at home as well. Bye week, and then at Washington. And then after the Cardinals and Patriots games, it ramps up. All 6 division games, and then the Seahawks and 49ers sandwiched in there. So really got to take advantage early, I think, and put yourself in a good position for the gauntlet Week 11 on, because it is going to be tough at that point in time. All right, before I give you my final record prediction, you give me your final record prediction. Predict the Bears 2024 record. Remember, 17 games. What is the record going to be? Go ahead and let me know in the comments. All right. Week 1, green signifies win. So win against the Titans. My score prediction for this first game is 27-17. I'm not going to do a score prediction for every game because it's just kind of silly. We did that a couple months ago, but who knows? Things change over the course of a season. Predicting a score in December and September seems kind of silly to me, so I'm just going to go straight up win-loss. I think the Bears are just a better team than Tennessee. I like them to cover the 4 if you can get that. I think that's good value. 27-17, Bears start off 1-0. I went back and forth on this one. I think the Bears could surprise people and win at Houston, but I'll stick with a loss. I have a lot of respect for Houston. I think they're going to be a really good team this year. It's on the road. If it was at Soldier Field, I might feel differently. It's prime time. Bears haven't fared as well there. Caleb's first primetime game. I think it'll be close, but I think the Texans end up winning. All right, week 3 at the Colts. I'll go back into the win column. I think week 2 and 3 they split. I think if they win at Houston, I could see a bit of a letdown game in Indianapolis, who is still a really good team, at least in my opinion. I've got them making the playoffs as the 7th seed in the AFC. But I think they win that game. They'll bounce back. I think this team is built to have that bounce back ability. And then you come home and lose to the Rams. Again, all of these are winnable. Most of them are losable. I mean, technically every game in the NFL is winnable, losable. These are all pros at the end of the day. But I think 2-2 or 3-1 is what you're looking at. But I'll go 2-2. I respect Matt Stafford and what the Rams are able to do. So 2-2 start through the first month of the season. As long as you're at least 2-2, I'll feel good about the start. If you're 1-3 or worse, the alarm bells are going to be ringing. All right, week 5. This is the easiest game on the schedule. Carolina's going to beat somebody. Don't let it be you, especially at home. Got to take care of business. Okay, week 6, going across the pond to London. It's one of those toss-up games. Jags are comfortable playing in London. They do it every year. But I think the Bears win this game. I think they have better players. I do. I think Caleb Williams will be better this year than Trevor Lawrence will. The Bears definitely have the better defense, in my opinion. I think they have overall better skill talent. Jacksonville lost Calvin Ridley. They drafted Brian Thomas Jr. We'll see how he plays as a rookie. I like the Bears to win that London game. I really do. Week 7 bye, so I like how the schedule makers did that. Go across the pond, bye week, and then gear up to go to Washington. I think it's a tricky game. I like getting the Commanders off the bye, get extra time here, but I think Washington's one of those teams that could be better than expected and could win a game or two that they shouldn't. Again, kind of like Carolina, don't let that team be you. Make sure you take care of business, win the battle of the top 2 picks. If you go just pure roster talent, the Bears have a notably better roster than Washington. Even if you want to say Caleb and Jaden are very similar in terms of what they're going to do this year, productivity-wise, the Bears roster is significantly better, in my opinion. I think the Bears won that game. All right, so 5-2 through the first 8 weeks with the bye week in there, and that's what you got to do, right? You got to take advantage of the first half of the schedule, and so far I've got the Bears doing just that. All right, before we get to the final 10 games, shout out to Game Time, our ticketing sponsor here at Chicago Bears. Now, if you're looking to go to a Bears game this season, hell, if you want to go to London for that matchup against Jacksonville, Game Time is the place to get your tickets. The best ticketing app out there. And their new feature called Game Time Picks is going to make it easier for you to go see your favorite teams, filter through your favorite teams, and filter out the fluff of tickets. Because when you click on an event on any ticketing app, including Game Time, there's thousands of tickets available, right? Well, Game Time Picks kind of shows you the best value ones. It kind of filters best to worst from top to bottom, not necessarily just based on price, although you can filter with different features in there as well. That feature just makes it easier for you, Game Time Picks. Whether you're getting tickets for a sporting event, concert, comedy show, or anything else, Game Time's going to show you views from the seats. They're going to flash their super deals, which is the best bang for your buck within certain events. And ultimately, they specialize in last-minute tickets for the lowest price guaranteed. So download Game Time today. Create an account, use code CHATSPORTS. That's going to get you $20 off your first purchase only right now. Terms apply. Code CHATSPORTS for $20 off when you first sign up for that first purchase. Terms do apply there. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. All right, week 9. I've flipped this one. I'm going to go loss. I think Arizona could be one of the surprise teams in the NFL. They remind me a lot of the Bears last year, where I don't think they're a playoff team yet, but I think they're better than people think. Kyler Murray is a good player. I think people forget that. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. could be top 5 in receiving this year. Kyler is going to force feed him. Games on the road, I think it's kind of a toss-up game, and I've got the Cardinals winning it. Come back home against maybe the easiest game. I said Carolina. Maybe it's New England. You got to beat the Patriots. I would expect by then Drake May is playing. He's not starting the year. Jacoby Brissett is. But regardless of who plays, that roster just cannot beat yours unless you just have a disastrous performance. So Carolina and New England at home, if there's ever must-wins in the NFL, it's those 2 games. Week 11 at home against the Packers. It continues. Loss against Green Bay, and that's a shame. But hopefully you get the better of them in Week 18. We'll get to that matchup in a minute. But regardless of what you guys think, FGB is the motto. And what do you think? Will the Bears beat the Packers this year? If you do, type FGB. And as a wise man once said, even if you don't, type FGB as well. So let's get it popping in the comment section. This has got to be the year the Bears beat the Packers at least once. All right, we're hoping to get to 100,000 subs by the end of our watch party on Sunday. We just crossed 98,000. A round of applause to all of you. How sick would it be to hit 100K as we're live on Sunday against the Tennessee Titans? So if you want free and daily Bears content, watch parties for every single Bears game, we got you covered. Sub for Bears dubs. This is the year we're going to have more dubs than L's. Let's go. YouTube.com/Bears now. Week 12, bouncing back, win against the Vikings here. And then I got the Bears winning on Thanksgiving at Detroit. The Bears have played well in Detroit over the years. Should have beat them on the road last year. They match up well with the Lions. I think they can win this game on Thanksgiving, and I'm picking it. I really think there's a real possibility of that happening. And if it does, if this plays out the way I've got it, 8-4, which means you're close, right? You're on the precipice of clinching a playoff spot. Probably got to get to 10 to do that. So 5 more games. If you can go 2-3 or better, probably a playoff team. So let's go. Don't think Week 14 is going to be very easy. At the 49ers late in the year, that's typically when Shanahan's teams round into form. If you caught them early in the season, I'd like your chances better, but I'm going to go with San Francisco in this one. Bounce back against the Vikings, also on the road. I think sweeping Minnesota is very much on the table this year. By this point in the season, is Minnesota kind of mailing it in a bit? We'll see. I still think they're going to be competitive, but I do think they're the 4th team in the NFC North. I got the Bears winning in Week 15. And then I'm going to split with Detroit. So you win at Detroit, they come to your place and beat you. Lose against the Lions at home, but hey, if you split with the Lions, I'm cool with that. They're a very good team. Little disclaimer here, I've got them winning the NFC North. That's how I think that plays out. Week 17, win against the Seahawks. This is on Thursday night, the day after Christmas. Seattle, I get it there. It can get cold up there, but coming to Soldier Field the day after Christmas, it better be a party with St. Nick for the Bears in that game. And then I'm going to do it. I said it in our Caleb Williams predictions video. Caleb Williams outplays Jordan Love in Week 18, and I think this could dictate seeding in the playoffs. I think this could leapfrog Chicago over Green Bay in a wild card scenario. That gets the Bears to 11-6. You're clearly going to be a playoff team if you go 11-6, unless just the NFC is nuclear this year. I do have Detroit winning the division, but Bears get a wild card spot. And how about this for a bonus prediction? Bears beat the Eagles in the wild card round. 3-6 matchup. Philly wins the East. Bears are the 6th seed. Chicago goes to Philadelphia, wins that game, and then loses to San Francisco in the divisional round. I mean, would you not sign up for a year like that? 11 wins and a playoff win? You haven't won a playoff game since January of 2011. Come on. This is the year to not only make the postseason, but to win a playoff game. That's what I have the Bears doing in 2024. All right, it all begins Sunday at 12 Central. We'll be live 10:45 Central for an hour and 15-minute build-up show, pregame, getting you ready for this matchup against the Tennessee Titans. If you see this thumbnail right here, you are in the right place. So come join us. Gonna be a blast as the Caleb Williams era begins for the Chicago Bears. All right. I can't wait, man. I can't wait, man.
I can't wait either.
We're here, man.
We're here.
We here. As the kids say, we here.
How does it feel? Because you've been talking about doing these predictions for a minute. So how does it feel to just get it all out?
It's just nice to actually start talking about real games.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a lot of hype and a lot of, what it could be. We did some Madden stuff. Like, it's time for the real deal. It's put up or shut up time. Tier 3 for Flus. Let's go. It's time to produce. Time to produce results. If you're going to join our watch party, type me, by the way.
Yeah.
Let us know if you're going to be there.
Yeah. For the record.
Justin says he'll be at the game. We get it. Tune in at halftime, man. Tune in at halftime.
For the record, I also have the Bears make the playoffs. No bias. I do think they're going to make it in.
It's going to be tough in the division. It just is, but I just think the roster's good enough, and if Caleb's at least pretty good, I think they're a playoff team. Do you think the Bears have a decent chance of winning the NFC North? I think there's a puncher's chance. I'm not picking it, but I think any of the teams outside of Minnesota could win it. It's been a lot of Detroit and Green Bay picks, but Chicago could win it. It wouldn't shock me. I just feel like the Lions, like their whole core's back. Like it feels like they've recognized like their time is now. So like I'm gonna roll with Detroit. And little schedule caveat for the Lions: Jared Goff indoors is historically much better than he is outdoors. 14 to 17 games indoors. Like that, you win 12 of those, 11 even. If you win 10 of those 14 and win just one of the other 3, I mean that's 11 wins.
Yeah.
That might win the division, or 12 probably for sure does. So, I think the schedule plays out nicely for Detroit, and
they start the year off with a fairly easy schedule too. I was looking at
if they can beat the Rams week 1 Sunday night, they can stack some wins early. So we should be rooting for the Rams Sunday night.
Yeah.
And the Eagles Friday night.
Yeah. So super chats are still not pulling. We did get a couple that I'm unable to pull up, but Ogeezer Karen sent one when we were
Ogeezer, what's up? It's been a while. What did he say?
He said, "Don't want to hear growth, just win."
Exactly. Yeah. Like, look, it's been fun, and even some of the players like Jalen Johnson has come out and been like, honestly, I'm tired of the hype. Like, we got to start winning. Cole Kmet, it's like, been here 4 years, we haven't won much. Got to win. So, Illuminati, how'd you become a Bears fan? What's your most memorable game? I've told the story a million times. I didn't grow up a Bears fan. I'm not going to fake lifelong fandom. I am a fan now. If you don't believe me, ask my wife. I started covering the Bears. I always liked the Bears. That's not BSing because I was a huge Devin Hester fan as a kid. Favorite player going up to watch, non-quarterback. I wanted them to beat Peyton Manning in the Super Bowl. The opening kickoff was incredible. Didn't work out. But, so started covering the Bears 2019, 2020-ish. Grew into the fandom. What could I say? Didn't know that would happen, but here I am. It's been fun, and can't wait to see where it goes. I'll tell you this. I'm a half-glass full guy. Like, I really thought Justin Fields was going to be that guy. This feels different, though. Like, I'd actually be surprised if Caleb isn't. Like, as optimistic as I was about Fields, I don't know if I would have ever said I'd be shocked if this doesn't work out. I'd actually be pretty surprised if this didn't work out with Caleb. Just with the infrastructure around him, players-wise, like, something would have to really go wrong. Now, there can be varying levels of success. Like, maybe he's not a top 5 guy, but a top 12. If he's a top 12 NFL quarterback, the Bears they never have that. Cutler might have been that for a couple years. Like, if you told me right now Caleb's a top 12 quarterback for the next decade, yeah, you want more, but you'd still take it. Like, I mean, you would absolutely still take it. So, I'm excited. I can't wait to get started. It's going to be a fun season here on Bears Now. Cullen's along for the ride, and can't wait to get started. So let's get the ball rolling here. So, all right, time to rest up at least a little bit for the next couple days. We'll still have plenty of content going out on the channel. Lock us in. Check out 4 Verts. My NFC North predictions is going to go out on that channel first. I'll repost it on this channel. I think it's going to drop tomorrow on 4 Verts. I'll go ahead and throw the link in there real quick before we get out of here. It's my NFL and college football channel. College football heating up too. I'll have my week 2 picks tomorrow, so get after that. I'm also going to do a Chiefs-Ravens reaction tonight, I think. So be on the lookout there. Link is in the chat. But NFC North prediction is going to drop tomorrow on that channel, Saturday here on Bears. So if you want to get it before it drops on Bears, it'll be on that channel first. Cullen, any parting words before we link back up Sunday morning?
Bold prediction, Bears sweep the Packers.
Woo! I love it.
I'm calling it.
I love it. We'll see you later, Rolly. Cullen's here now, baby.
I'm here.
Cullen's here
Let's
now,
go.
baby. All right, this has been fun. Subscribe to us here. Check out 4 Verts. He's Cullen. I'm Harrison. We'll see you guys Sunday.